Hey there folks, and welcome to episode 11 of Circuits, and we are in, this is a Phenom 100 by Carenado, and I've had this a while. You'll hear the engines are just firing up actually. Let me just make sure our parking brakes are set, which I think they are. Yeah. Yeah, so I did mention that I'm going to start to fly some jets, some bigger jets, and this is a good stepping stone. Let me show you outside. Check this out. Gorgeous, gorgeous little jet here. You can hear the jets just firing up there. And yeah, so we just get back into the cockpit. This is going to be fun. So we're in Pago Pago, which is American Samoa in the South Pacific Ocean, and we're basically just going to fly around the island. We're not going to really fly anywhere in particular. We're just going to fly around. I just want to get a bit of practice in with flying this, because I haven't done much in the way. Ooh, that looks nice. Yeah, so I do just appreciate a little bit of forgiving comments, if you don't mind, because I'm a complete noob at this particular aircraft. I haven't even read the manual, which is why we're fully fired up and ready to go. I haven't done a manual start. So look at the texturing, lovely leather seats. This is a really luxurious. Let's have a look through the cabin. This is a really luxurious plane, very executive. It's the kind of thing you would fly if you were a hip-hop star or a very wealthy politician or something like that. I don't know. They're all wealthy, aren't they, politicians? But yeah, lovely, lovely plane. And yeah, we're going to take her out for a little spin around Pago Pago. So nice scenery. We're going to... Let's just quiet that up a bit. Just see how this goes. So we're going to turn our taxi lights on. Our strobe, whoops, should be, whoops. Oh, come on. Or maybe that is on. I really need the lights on, I guess, but it's quite a nice effect. We'll turn that off. Right, okay, so let's taxi on out to the runway, and the engines in this are really, really quiet, and it's quite deceptive because let me just go to full screen, because you can't actually hear them rev up. You've really got to listen. So we're getting into the kind of jets now, and don't be I'm not gonna just do jets, you know. I'm always going to go back to GA because it's my first love, but I thought I'd do one or two jets every so often, and this is, I have to say, a nice way of starting it off in this little thing here. So we'll taxi on out. Landing is going to be interesting, having never landed it before. Could possibly go wrong? It's going to be fine. I hope I'm following the right. Doesn't look like I'm really going the right way. Okay, let's head up. We'll break a few rules here just to get to the runway a bit quicker. So yeah, I'm pretty excited to give this a go. As I said, I'm okay with the NGX by PMDG, and I'm getting to grips with the 777. But really, most of my flying hours in jets has been on the the 737 NGX and the 737 NG. So 700 and 900. That's predominantly where I've done most of my flying. Lovely waves rippling in there. Anyway, digress. So yes, so things like this, these smaller jets, are pretty new to me. So please bear with me. I'm super excited to be trying this as well. This is from Carenado. Again, I do love their planes. This is highly recommended. This is $39.99, I believe, but worth every penny. They've just released actually the 300 version, which is the larger version of this. I've had this for a while, but she's been in the hangar for quite some time. So yes, so tell you what, shall we? Not actually sure how much of a run up we're going to need on this. So we will go out to the bottom. Oops, sorry, just stalled it. Not really. So we'll taxi down to the bottom of this runway. We'll turn around and we'll take off. Have a bit of a fly around. We'll take her up. Not too high initially, but then we'll maybe go up to some altitude and just have a bit of a mess around. Come down and try and land the thing, basically. So what I love about this is, you know, you can try out so many different aircraft, and it's okay to not read the manuals first of all. I think to get a feel for it, that's kind of the whole point, because you're not allowed to do that in the real world, obviously, for obvious reasons. So one of the things that I love about the sim is that you can take advantage that it's not real world, and you don't have to have, you know, 500 hours in a twin to get into this. You can just jump right in it and get a feel for it. But then of course it's up to you whether you then go ahead and read the manuals and try and use the aircraft in the manner that it was made for, which I highly recommend you do, because you'll get more out of it. You know, studying these aircraft and knowing a little bit about what the proper procedures are, even if things like damage or wear and tear aren't modelled, it's worth investing that time in, because, you know, it's a simulator. You're not supposed to just fly and crash. I mean, that gets boring really quickly. So try and do things by the book, you know, as much as you can. He says on a series that does nothing by the book. I will do a series. I keep saying this, but I will start a series at some point that takes things much more seriously and sticks to the rules a bit. And I've got a feeling those will probably get more views, just because it's what people want to do, you know, in this community. This is what it's about. Okay, so I'm gonna spin her around. Go one stage of flaps. So I put the flaps down. You can't even hear them going down, but you just have to trust me that I have. Can't even see the wings from this angle. Okay, so a little bit more power as we come in turn. And our landing lights can go on. The other thing I said I was going to do is to introduce traffic. I think that would be fun. Now that I've got a decent graphics card, I think probably it could handle that. So I'm going to investigate some different traffic add-ons. And but anyway, let's get this thing up in the air, have a bit of fun. So I'm going to go to 60%. N1. Okay, looks stable, and then we'll go take off power set. And this thing is incredibly smooth and quiet. Oops, I got an issue with my rudder. I didn't reset the rudder here. That's why we're flying all over the place. So apologies for that. Right, V1. Rotate. Gear up. Very smooth, very nice, and flaps up. Hardly felt that takeoff, and we're already climbing out at 130 knots. Lovely scenery. So again, I'm going to throttle down because this thing is like a rocket. We're now at 150 knots, and as you may or may not know, it's illegal to fly faster than 250 knots under 10,000 feet. So look how quickly you can trim this aircraft. That was super fast. I didn't even really think about it too much, and there we are in pretty much straight and level flight. My controllers do need a little bit of tweaking. I need to calibrate them in FSUIPC, but I won't worry too much about that now. I don't think it's too drastic. Let's see. Where is it? Yeah, it is. Okay guys, sorry, bear with me. I'll just do this really quickly. Joystick calibration. It takes literally 2 seconds. Oops, wrong one. So as you can see, they're way out. Let's try that again. Okay, interesting. That hasn't changed much. Has a bit. Anyway, that should be. I guess we should do the rudder. Yeah, I was having issues with that. Okay. All right, that should do it. Sorry about that. Should have done that before we started. So very smooth, isn't it, compared to the most of the other aircraft that we've flown. You can hardly feel any bumps in this. Blimey, we're really throttling along here, so I'm going to pull back the throttle quite significantly because we're approaching 200 knots. Let's fly out to that interesting island out there. Now the weather is okay. It's a bit misty, murky, and storms are always an issue in this part of the world. So we just need to be a little bit careful. Look at that, the way the water changes, different colour, that's cool. Liking that. Right, we haven't bled off much airspeed. Look at that, slowly coming down. I believe this has a weather radar actually, does it? Pretty sure it does. Not quite sure how to get it working, but again, that's what the manual's for. Oops. So we've got things like terrain warnings, which I'm guessing we should have heard actually, because we're pretty close to that mountain. But I didn't test them before we started, but I'm assuming they're working fine. Hopefully they are. But yeah, you can see how much more ground you can cover in a beast like this. We'll fly around the tip of this island here and just do a little bit of sightseeing, really. And just sort of stay out of trouble, really. So this is really made for long, you know, not long haul, but longer trips, really. not really sightseeing. It's not really a sightseeing plane. It's a business jet. It's classified as. So, you know, you'd be flying to, I don't know what the range is on it, but it's pretty significant. Probably a few thousand, yeah, a few thousand miles on this, with a ceiling of, I think, 38,000, something like that. I am sort of pulling these numbers out. Look at that, doesn't that look gorgeous? That scenery, incredible. Absolutely stunning. So, so this is not usual operation. Right, we're losing speed a bit. I guess we're climbing, so I'll just saying we're good down to about 110 knots in the current configuration with no flaps. That's the slowest we would want to go without stalling. So, so what we'll do is we'll just power up and we'll just fly down this side of the island. We won't maintain. We won't climb too high. I'll try and not bust 250 knots. Keep an eye on that. This is like the straight on the circuit there. So I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll fly between those two islands, and then we'll take her up. We'll go above the clouds. We'll punch through the clouds and just see how well she can climb. Because this is like a little fighter jet. It really is. This looks like a nice little resort in this cove here. To the left and straight on. Very exclusive islands. We were due to stop here on the cruise, but we never made it because
sync rate. Sync.
Oh yeah, thank you. We never made it because we were trapped between two storms, sadly. So we never made. Well, we did make it here, but we couldn't disembark, sadly. It's one of those islands where cruise ships can't actually get into a port. They have to you have to go out on the tenders, and sadly it was too. Well, there wasn't enough time before the storm got to us, basically. Something like that. It was a few years ago, so. But yeah, I'd love to come back here. Beautiful part of the world. Alright, so let's punch through this cloud. So, again, try not to bust 250. And the one thing I do like about jets is that you get these pink, I don't know if you can see on this display unit, you get these pink lines here, and this is your situation indicators. They basically allow you to think ahead. They tell you what you're going to be doing in 10 seconds time. I think it's 10 seconds, but so we're immersed in cloud here, just punching through. So it allows you to plan, you know, think ahead, which is very, 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 very useful in aviation. I've got a feeling there could be some storms building. It's alright, we'll climb up. We'll go up to about 10,000. And hopefully we'll be above cloud then. We can see the views, see what's happening. You can see why it's murky down below. There's a lot of kind of low cloud and layers of cloud about. Happy to report our frame rates are pretty good, even in this weather. In fact, have I got the clouds set on? I could maybe increase the textures of the clouds a bit, maybe for the next flight, and see what that looks like. I've got a feeling they're set to 1080. Maybe I can put them up to 2, whatever it is. just to see what it looks like. You know, probably not going to notice that much, but I think the card could handle it. It's sort of, you know, we're averaging about 35-ish frames at the moment, I believe. Look at that, lovely. Let's get an outside view of the... Look at that, isn't that gorgeous? Stunning, stunning, stunning. Beautiful. Yeah. Well, I hope that excites you as much as it does excite me. Probably not. I'm a bit of a geek. But look at that. The scenery there is just great. Clouds. I'm super happy with this card. I know I said that in the previous video, but I really am. Okay, so we'll level off. We'll bleed a bit of the speed off, and we'll about turn and head back to Pago Pago International and see about getting this thing on the floor nice and safely without too many scratches or blown tyres or, well, or worse. Hopefully not. So as you can see, we've climbed up to 15,000 feet in basically no time. So I'm going to throttle right back here. And it's going to take a bit of time to bleed this off. Have we got the air brakes in this thing? I'm not sure that there are. Probably not. No. This is why I need to really figure out, whoops, how to fly this properly. Okay, so I'm just watching the rate of descent here. Could probably zoom in a bit more, as there's not much to see out the window. And what is important is our instruments at this stage in the flight. So we need to just monitor our airspeed, make sure it doesn't go too high. And our rate of descent, that's pretty epic. 4,000 meters, 4,000 feet a minute is pretty uncomfortable. So, you know, let's bring that nose up a bit. Just relieve. About 25 is about right. Any more than that and you're like on a roller coaster. And again, you've got to always be thinking of your passengers potentially if you're carrying them, and their comfort, and obviously most importantly their safety. But again, we're in the sim, so we don't care too much. We can be a bit more extreme. It's so nice being able to approach clouds without too much. Oh, I didn't see any stuttering there at all as we came through that or went into that cloud. And in the previous incarnation of my computer, definitely be seeing stutters there, but not right. We've just broken our 250 limit, so that is a pretty serious offence. So yeah, we'll just bleed off this. We're descending quite nicely now, but we're going to have a lot of airspeed to get rid of, so we might have to do a bit of a holding pattern. We'll see. So when you're in cloud, what you want to be doing is not looking out the window, but looking at your artificial horizon here and your wings, and just making sure that you're keeping level. And obviously, you don't want to be going below sort of 10 degrees of nose down there, because that's just uncomfortable. So there's the runway. So we're gonna basically do a right-hand turn, and just re-enter the kind of the pattern, and we'll come in from the south side of the airport. As we come around, we can start to trim up a bit. That will bleed off some of the airspeed, and then just descend again. Just get below this cloud. About 3,000 feet will level off. We're doing a turn. This is a really insanely steep turn. That would not be... Tupac in the back there would not be happy. He'd be wanting his money back. So again, well, I tell you what would be nice. Let me just see if this hits the frames. I'm sure it will. But the one thing that is great about P3D is the shadows. So I'm wondering whether things like vegetation... Oh, I don't know. This might not go well, but let's just see what this does to the frames. It might. Okay, hasn't really affected it that much. But again, it's to do with the smoothness. So we'll see. The moment it becomes unsmooth is the moment...
Sync rate. Sync rate.
Okay.
Sync rate. Sync rate. Sync rate.
It's because we're approaching a low altitude. It's telling us we're descending too quickly. Yeah, the moment it becomes stuttery and unsmooth is the moment you want to pare back your settings, because obviously things, you know, it's good for things to look good, obviously, but the most important thing is that you get a smooth flight experience, because that's what you're simulating. You're not too fussed really if New York doesn't look exactly like New York. When you get, you know, a slightly higher end system, you can actually get a nice balance between the two. So I don't know, I'm thinking we might be approaching IFR conditions here, because the cloud base is pretty low. Even though it's any wispy kind of cloud, it's still... I don't know whether they would allow a manual landing at this altitude, 2300. Yeah, they probably would actually. I don't know. Anyway, we'll go one stage of flaps. We'll start to slow this lovely aircraft down. As we do, the nose is coming up, so I'm just trimming down. And again, what I'm watching is mainly this screen here. We know the direction of the airport, and we're going to line up with it. It's just coming around here. Of course, we can't see anything yet. So if I straighten up about now, oh, there we're way off actually. Way off. So we'll just correct that. Alright, so this is all going to happen rather quickly. So I'm going to put the gear down. That warning is because I hit the flaps and flaps 20 before the gear was down. That's to stop you from forgetting to put the flaps down, to put the gear down, sorry. And as we come in, we should get a nice view of the busiest part of the island here. I'm impressed with this scenery. Lovely looking. Pretty hard on frames, I would imagine. But alright, so the PAPU lights are definitely saying we're too high, so we'll just nose down a bit. The only problem is we've got a mountain right there, so we need to be a bit careful of the terrain. In fact, what we would normally do is turn the terrain on and zoom in a bit. I'm not going to do that because I'm trying to concentrate on landing. So there we go, so we're about the right height now, we're on the glide path. So now it's just a case of lining up, getting the aircraft stable, and a stable, slow descent down to the runway, hopefully. Misbehaving a little bit. Or is that me? It's probably me. Yes, so, yeah. Alright, excuse me while I maintain radio silence just to get her down. A little bit of wind happening here. It's not too crazy. And still on the glide slope. I feel like our nose is way out. There's just a bit of rudder in. I don't know. Let's see. That should be okay. This is the moment you get slightly sweaty palms, especially when in a new plane that you've got no experience with. So I'm watching my speed. I probably can go slower than this, but for my first attempt at a landing in this, I'm not going to risk getting down to stall speed. Oh, I like those purple lights. It's kind of nice, if a little bit distracting. Alright, so yeah, I'm impressed how easy this is to fly, actually, to hand fly, even though it's a jet. So we must have a crosswind. We're coming in at a slight angle, so I'm going to resist the temptation to flare too early, and I'm going to kick in a bit of left rudder as we do. Oh dear, this might be a hard landing. No, not too bad. Okay. Alright. Not too bad, not too bad. I'm fighting the rudder here. Oh dear. And the brakes. Oh crap. Okay. Oops, sorry, excuse my language. That was not good. My speaker at the back of my rudder pedals got stuck. Or the rudder pedals got stuck on the behind the brake. Anyway. It's a bit of an excuse. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. I hope you guys enjoyed that. This plane is really nice to fly. Really smooth, very responsive, fast as hell, but in a calm way, not in a, you know, initially mentioned a fighter jet. It's not like aggressively fast. It's kind of smooth fast. Like, I don't know, just really nice to fly. Easy to fly. I don't know if that is, you know, how it is in real life. I guess it probably is. We didn't use any autopilot or any of that stuff, but I will learn how to use that. I will learn some of the gadgets on this thing. This is an incredibly modern plane. It can do anything that a normal jet can do, and then some. So yeah, I wouldn't mind having a look at some of that stuff. I think it does have a radar, weather radar. Maybe I'm mistaken. I don't know. But anyway, we'll see. So we've come to a full stop there. Didn't quite mean to do that. It's like the Pago Pago fire station right ahead. Why have I come to a full stop? What the heck? That is very odd. Okay, there we go. Those engines were spooled up like mad and weren't moving. Sorry guys, I'm struggling. It must be something to do with my brakes, is it? Don't think so. Maybe it was up a slight hill. Who knows? That's mad. Look how spooled up my engines are. 60%. Oh, now we're picking up speed. Okay. Weird. I'm more inclined to think that was something to do with maybe the ground textures or something. Don't know. Don't know what that was either. Anyway. I'll just take you over to the gate, roughly. I think this is the terminal building here. Lovely, lovely tropical looking island, isn't it? This would be a nice place for a holiday. Get some sun. And maybe like a honeymoon destination. I don't know. We never got to go there, sadly. But maybe one day. Looks nice. Alright. And there is our luggage handlers waiting for us. Hopefully. It's good etiquette to turn off your landing lights and go to taxi lights so you don't blind them. So we'll do that. And we'll just come to a standstill somewhere here. There we go. So we'll set the parking brake. Parking brake is set there, and I'm not going to power her down because I don't really know what the protocol is. I mean, I'm such a noob at this, I don't want to do the wrong thing. Engine start and stop. I guess if we do that, oops, if we do that then, I'm not used to the clicky things either. Okay, there we go. So we fired her down. Let's have an outside view. And I'll just open the I'll open the door there. It's fully animated. Kind of cool. Okay, guys. Before we get into beeping hell, as I haven't done the right procedures and stuff for parking and cleaning up and all that stuff, it's going to beep endlessly at me and tell me off. We'll end there. So I hope you've enjoyed it. This has been the Phenom 100 by Carenado, and we have been in Pago Pago. We've been for a little trip. Hope you've enjoyed it, and we will see you next time. Okay, thanks for tuning in. Bye.